In this video, we're going to talk about adverbs within the SAT writing. Even though they're a cornerstone of the English language, it's very important to know what they are and be able to distinguish them. So let's start. So adverbs are words that modify and describe verbs, just like how adjectives describe nouns. Now that's going to be very important because most SAT questions that are about adverbs specifically, or the usage of adverbs, are you being able to distinguish adverbs from the use of adjectives. So they're commonly created by adding ly to the end of adjectives, and they also have no grammatical impact on sentences, which we'll talk about in a bit. Now there also comes temporal adverbs, which are a little bit different. They're a subset of adverbs that do not end in ly, and they are temporal adverbs which describe the frequency of something or when something occurs. So temporal, they relate to time. That includes things like often, next, meanwhile, now, etc. Now about adverb places in sentences, let's think about it for a second. So you have now I understand. This is a complete sentence with an adverb. Now, we can have now at the start, we can have I understand now, which is now at the end, and that is still a grammatically correct sentence. So what's important to remember is that these adverbs have no grammatical impact on sentences. You can put now in wrong spots. You can put adverbs in grammatically incorrect spots within a sentence, but the inclusion or lack thereof of an adverb is never going to turn a sentence into a fragment. So let's move on to the question. This one's a little bit different. So there are a bunch of underlined sections. We have to determine which of these underlined ones we need to change in order to make the sentence correct. So Braden carried the basket from the coop to the house, careful and slow, mindful not to break any of the eggs within it. So let's just take a second to analyze all of our options. Braden carried the basket from the coop. That is a grammatically correct sentence. Carried, we're just describing what he's doing in the past tense. That's the verb we're using. So that will be fine. You don't need to change that. Now, careful and slow might look okay when you're looking at it at a glance, but actually, this is what we need to focus on. So careful and slow, what is it describing? It's actually describing how Braden carried the basket specifically. Now, if we're describing the verb carried, we're going to need to use adverbs, carefully and slowly. So careful and slow is actually our correct answer, what we need to change. But let's just use good practice and look through the rest of them. Mindful not to break any of the eggs. That is grammatically correct. It works within the sentence. Nothing's wrong there. And within it, we're referring to that basket. It makes sense there. It's all good. No error is also incorrect because we found that we are using adjectives in the place of adverbs. So B is going to be your correct answer.